In 1895, audiences sat down to watch Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat, an early film that showed a train pulling into a station. Legend has it that when viewers saw the train barreling toward them, they panicked as they were inexperienced with the new medium. Whether true or not, virtual reality filmmakers are recalling the story with interest. Less than a year after the release of the first modern VR headsets to the public, filmmakers are in the same position as the film industry in the late 1900s.
To say things like, only this kind of storytelling will work, or storytelling won't work, and only this kind of immersive experience will work, I think just does the whole industry, a disservice. We should be encouraging people to have ideas wherever they come, so that we can keep an open mind and really find the real potential for VR. The goal is to find that kind of juice that gives that classical storytelling so much value in theater and cinema and literature, and find a way, how can we put that into a VR experience? I mean, you can describe it, but the experience of actually doing it is really, at least for me, transformative. It's not just an extension of cinema, it's its own brand new medium.
Baobab Studios is one of a handful of production companies ushering in a new era of VR storytelling. The technology is new, as are viewers' expectations. No one knows what type of content will work best, or even what will be possible a few years down the road. VR has the potential to wow audiences with intimate access to people and places once contained to a two-dimensional screen.
Invasion is the story of these super advanced aliens that come to Earth to take over, destroy anybody that tries to get in their way, and the Earthlings amazingly rise up and defeat them. But the Earthlings in our story are not people, they're two little cute white bunnies, and the viewer just happens to be one of those bunnies.
What we really want to experiment with is what is it like to put the audience as a character in the film itself. And then does it become too much of a game, or can we still, you can still be brought along the journey without worrying about who am I, what am I supposed to do? And so having you be a cute little bunny, it made for a perfect story for doing that experiment of putting you in.
The bunny comes to you and looks you straight in the eyes sometimes, and it's something that you would really try to avoid in movies, because you didn't want to feel like you're actually a part of that world. In here we kind of want to do the opposite. We actually want that connection. I think that's one of the best things about VR, which is actually really unique and special, that you can have that connection with the character.
People are just really charmed by that, and I was really surprised by what an effect it has on the viewer. And the bunny starts to play, and I've even seen people start to play back, and when the bunny then hops, they actually think that they're really engaged in this play with this bunny. And so there's a lot of talk about VR as being sort of this empathy engine, you automatically get 20% more empathy with VR or whatever it is. And I was kind of skeptical about that, but I think under certain situations, I think that really can be true.
VR tricks our brains into believing what we are seeing is real, and that creates some interesting nuances. One of the most difficult challenges is overcoming the technology itself. In these early days of VR, it's tempting to prey on audiences' emotions, just as Arrival of a Train supposedly did. The emotions you feel in VR are real and raw. There's no longer a screen dividing you from the virtual world. You are there.
People often ask me, as a feature film director, former feature film director, how do you feel about giving up all this control to the viewer? And I just don't look at it that way. I think of it as just a different kind of a job than maybe I had directing something that's cinematic.
So we use animation to make you look in certain areas. We use sounds to make you kind of, rotate your head where the sound is. So it's almost like being a magician and grabbing your attention, hey, look over here, look over there, and making that. I don't want to say that making illusion. It's all about you following the story so you don't get lost.
Her ears perk up and she looks off camera. Virtually everybody is going to look off camera. What's she looking at? And then you have to give the audience something worth looking at, something of interest, something compelling that advances, your narrative.
We are top ranking in the devices that we are on. So that was great validation for us. We had, besides from audiences, because that's the proof in the pudding, like how many people actually decide to watch your thing, but also the fact that these distributors decided to feature us with these launches was awesome for us, and we're really honored.
You know, it's just, there's so much to discover that, you know, I think we're just scratching the surface.